There was a time when mornings felt heavy, not because I was exhausted, but because I already felt behind before the day even started. I'd wake up with that low-level anxiety in my chest, hit snooze, grab my phone, scroll through nonsense I didn't even care about, and suddenly I was rushing through the morning with this quiet frustration that followed me everywhere. Every day felt the same, not bad enough to panic, just empty enough to drain you. What made it worse was knowing I wanted more from myself, but not having the energy or clarity to do anything about it. I didn't wake up thinking, today I'm going to change my life. I woke up thinking, let's just get through today. And that's not a good place to live. What eventually changed things wasn't motivation or some dramatic reset. I didn't overhaul my life. I didn't suddenly become disciplined. I changed one small thing, then another, then another. Over time, those small changes turned mornings into something stable, even grounding. This isn't a perfect routine. It's just one that works. And you don't need to copy all of it. You can steal pieces, adjust it, make it yours. Step 1. Creating quiet before the world shows up. Most people don't actually hate mornings. They hate noise, notifications, messages, expectation, other people's urgency. The problem is that most of us let all of that hit us immediately. For me, waking up at 5:45 isn't about discipline or being impressive. It's about having a window where nothing is asking anything of me yet. No emails, no deadlines, no opinions, just quiet. That quiet matters more than people realize. It gives you a chance to start the day internally instead of externally. I don't reach for my phone, not because I'm strong, but because I've made it inconvenient. My phone stays in another room. I use a basic alarm clock. That single change removed the decision entirely. When you don't give yourself the option to scroll, you stop negotiating. After getting up, I don't rush. I sit on the edge of the bed, feet on the floor, one breath. Sometimes I say thank you. Sometimes I don't say anything at all. That pause is subtle, but it's powerful. It shifts you from reaction mode into intention mode. You're no longer chasing the day, you're entering it. Step 2. Doing something uncomfortable on purpose. I avoided cold showers for years, not because I thought they were dangerous, but because I didn't want to be uncomfortable first thing in the morning. Eventually I realized that comfort was the exact thing keeping me stuck. Cold water doesn't magically make you productive. What it does is interrupt autopilot. It forces your body and mind into the present moment. You don't think about your to-do list. You don't replay yesterday. You're just there, that's the point. It teaches you something important early in the day. Discomfort isn't fatal, and it doesn't last forever. That lesson carries forward. Step 3. Stillness without distraction. This is where most people get uncomfortable. 10 minutes of silence. No phone, no podcast, no background noise. At first, your mind feels restless. That's normal. We've trained ourselves to avoid being alone with our thoughts. But stillness does something nothing else does. It gives you perspective. I sit, I breathe. Sometimes I meditate, sometimes I pray. Sometimes I just let my thoughts run until they calm down on their own. This isn't spiritual or dramatic. It's practical. When you don't pause, small things feel big. When you pause, big things feel manageable. Step 4. Journaling as direction, not therapy. I used to think journaling meant writing paragraphs about feelings. That never stuck. What works for me is simple structure. 3 short prompts. Something I'm grateful for. What would make today a win? One thing I should avoid that would derail my day. This takes less than 10 minutes. But it does something important. It gives the day direction. Without direction, you drift. With direction, you lead. This isn't about positivity. It's about clarity. Step 5. Movement before excuses. I spent years telling myself I'd work out later. Later never came. Now I move early. Not because I love it, but because it changes how I feel about myself. Movement creates evidence. Evidence that you showed up. Evidence that you followed through. That matters more than the workout itself. Confidence isn't built by thinking. It's built by action. Step 6. Checking your internal state. Energy leaks are subtle. A bad thought, a stressful message, a single negative interaction. If you don't notice them, they compound. I pause and check in. Am I tense? Am I rushing? Am I scattered? Then I respond instead of react. This step alone prevents entire days from spiraling. Step 7. Fueling instead of numbing food isn't moral, but it is influential. What you eat affects how you think. I don't aim for perfection, just intention. Protein, fiber, water. Enough to support focus instead of fighting it. Step 8. Small acts of self-respect. This sounds minor, but it's not. Washing your face slowly, cold water, moisturizer. It's a signal. You're telling yourself, I'm worth taking care of today. Those signals add up. Step 9. Creating before consuming. This changed everything. Before I let the world speak to me, I speak first. Writing, planning, recording ideas. Even 10 minutes shifts your identity. You start the day as someone who creates, not someone who reacts. Closing thoughts. This routine didn't save my life. It gave it structure, and structure creates freedom. You don't need to do all of this. You don't need perfect mornings. You just need ownership. Pick one thing. Start there. Because when you control your mornings, you stop chasing your life. If this helped you slow down or see mornings differently, leave a comment with one thing you'll try tomorrow. And subscribe for more grounded tools for building a stronger mind, body, and life. This is your time.